Good morning, everybody. What an exciting day. We have Diane here today teaching a class. I'm going to let some people sign on. There's Diane. Look at all the fabric behind us. I'm cutting my face off. That's awesome. All right. So we're going to, hello, Lynn. We're excited to have a new class today. Oh, hi, Janet. On this beautiful weather. I know I went a little earlier today because I know you guys are all headed outside to do yard work or just to catch some rays. Just so you know, if you have any desire to go to Paula's Donuts, the line is all the way down the parking lot. So maybe hold off on getting a donut today. Because it was crazy. I thought there was like some major thing going on over there. Nope, just a donut. I guess everybody missed their Paula's. All right. So we have Diane in today, and she is teaching us.
Okay, you can have the book. Okay.
The Missouri.
The book.
Yep. Oh,
that's Missouri Star. This was actually our Missouri Star project that was supposed to be for March, which we never got a chance to do. So April, so we're doing it today.
The other month that starts with an M. May.
Yes, May. And it's a fabric covered box, a storage box for your sewing room, or it could be for a lot of other things. This one is just the right size for fat quarters.
Ooh.
And
because nobody on here has fat quarters.
Nobody has fat quarters.
Nobody.
No. I have been cleaning and I have discovered I probably have like a whole bookcase full of fat quarters.
So she's making lots of boxes.
I'm making lots of boxes. And this one is sewing fabric, which is very appropriate for a sewing room. However, I was thinking that it might be nice to cover a whole lot of them and each one in a different color, and then color coordinate the fat quarters in them to make it even more
organization.
Organization.
This is what we're talking about today. Okay. All right, I'm going to flip it off of all of us and get you on to Diane so we can start the class.
Okay. Oh, so Sydney's going to do that. Okay. So the box that we're going to cover today is the size box, only because I have a lot of these, because this is an Amazon box. And for all of our shopping lately, that's where a lot of our products are coming from. So this is the box, and then this is the cover that goes over it. And the nice thing about this project, well, one of the nice things is that there is a formula for covering any size box. So no matter what size your box happens to be or what size you need for your storage solutions, I'm going to give you the formula for covering the box. Okay, there are a few of the Missouri Star block books left that have the whole article in them, plus a lot of the other projects. But if you don't have that, or you want, then it looks like create stylish storage boxes for your fabric. Okay, and I'm going to give you the formula. So I'm going to talk about it right now, but if sometime during this time, if you want to grab a piece of paper and a writing utensil so that you can write this down. So while I get my fabric prepared, you might want to go and get that now. So we're going to move that. We're going to move this over.
And just remember, if you guys have questions, just yell them out, and Diane and I will answer. This is how we all help each other and feel like we're together.
It's hard teaching a class when you don't have somebody asking questions here all the time. It just is very strange. I said to Alyssa this morning that for me, it is so easy to come in and teach a class, but it's very difficult to do it this way because it's like talking on the phone. I'm not a talking on the phone person. I would rather talk to people in person.
humans need human interaction, and I think that's what's really hard about this right now is we need people. We need people. We need connection. We need it's soon.
That's the hard part. And seeing people at a distance and not being able to hug them.
I know.
That's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Because it's like a bye.
I know.
Hi.
Well, we can't even do that. And my son, because he's with the public all the time, and on Mother's Day, it's like, you know, he's way over there and I'm way over here. And he said, Mom, because I don't want to make you dead. And it's really, I wanted to hug him.
Because that's what we have to say to each other now, you know?
Yeah. So, okay, so are we back with our writing stuff? So this is our piece of fabric that we're going to work today. Okay. Before we start cutting, I am going to tell you how to measure so you know what to cut. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do before you do anything else, after you grab the box that you want to use, okay, and this is, I just trimmed off the flaps on this one. Some of them you can fold the flaps in, it makes it sometimes a little bit sturdier, but this seems fine for me. Okay, is you're going to measure, and you need to measure the length of your box, you need to measure the width of your box, and you need to measure the height of your box. Okay, so in this case, when I measured, okay, I measured the length, and I got 10 inches. Okay, the width of the box is the short way. Okay, and that measures 7 inches. Okay, sometimes on your boxes, they want to spread a little bit apart, so make sure your sides are straight up and down, so you're not getting too big of a measurement. Okay, and then the height, okay, is actually 3 1/4 inches. Okay, so we've got 10 and 7 and 3 1/4. Okay, so after you've got it measured, the first thing you want to do is we're going to do some manipulations with these numbers. The first thing you want to do is you want to take the height of the box, okay, which in this case is 3 1/4, and you multiply that number by 2. Okay, because actually what you're doing is you're going up and then you're going back down again. Okay, so that's where the 2 comes in. All right, then you want to take the width of the box, short side, this way, okay, which is 7 inches, and that number you're going to divide by 2. So multiply by 2, divide by 2. Okay, so now we have 3 1/4 multiplied by 2, which is 6 1/2. Okay, a little bit of math. This isn't really bad math. Okay, the width of the box is 7, and you divide by 2, and you get 3 1/2. So we have 6 1/2 and 3 1/2. Okay, you're going to add those two numbers together. Okay, still easy. 6 1/2 and 3 1/2 makes 10. Okay, and you're going to add 1 inch to that. And that 1 inch is going to take into account the hem on the bottom. Okay, we're going to have a 1 inch down here we're going to use for the hem. Okay, so that number comes out to 11. Okay, 6 1/2, 3 1/2 are 10, plus 1 make it 11. So that is the width that you're going to cut your piece of fabric. Okay, so on my piece of fabric now I actually have 1/3 yard here. And okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square up my fabric. Okay.
Do you need more room?
And just going to lift this up and over.
One of the questions was, what volume book is this? It's volume 7, issue 1. I hope that helps.
Squared off.
It's a big ruler.
And this is the 8 1/2 inch wide ruler, which is probably my favorite because it lets you do a lot more than the 6 inch one does. So I have 8.5 plus 2.5 make 11. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at 11 inches. Okay, for those of you, and I've noticed this in some of the beginner classes, that people that are math challenged, okay, and it's like, okay, take your 11 and subtract your 8.5 and you get 2.5, and people are having a problem. If you think you have it set up but don't want to cut until you're absolutely sure, what you can do is pick this ruler up and put it on top like this, and it's a check. Make sure that it really is 11. Okay.
I'm one of those math challenge people.
Okay, so now we can cut this at 11 inches. Okay, so that's where those numbers came from in the beginning, the 11 inches. Okay, now we want to cut this way, and so how do we get that measurement from those boxes? Okay, you're going to take the width of the box. Okay, if you had, say, they show actually in the book where they have one of those boxes that you put together yourself and that they come flattened, and they say just take it and flatten the box out and lay it down and use that for a measurement. But this one, I didn't want to take it apart and put it back together. If you flatten it out, all it is the width plus the length. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add the width plus the length, which is 7 plus 10. That makes 17. And then you add 1/4 of an inch, because we're going to have 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So we want to cut this at 17 1/4. Okay, from the fold.
So the question was, is the fabric folded? Yes, it is.
The fabric is folded.
Down by Diane is the fold.
These are the selvages up here. Okay, and then the fold is down here, because we always cut from the fold up. Okay, so from the fold, not from the opened end, we're going to measure 17 1/4. Okay, 17 1/4. So we want to cut it off here, but again, this is not long enough. The ruler's not long enough, so if you take your secondary ruler and place it here, okay? Now this is the line you want to cut, but being right-handed, I can't cut there, so you just, this is called the ruler dance. You just rotate that ruler, take that one away.
I just learned something amazing.
And you can cut right there.
Wow, the ruler dance.
The ruler dance.
Look at that. Now, again, this is a 8.5 by what?
8.5 by 24.5.
That's a nice ruler.
It is a wonderful ruler. It's a creative grid. And we do have some, we did have them at this store. I keep trying to get them to either.
Oh, they're there.
They're up there.
Yep. Okay.
Katie just ordered some more for me because I just like it, because you can do so much more with it. Okay. So now I have a piece of fabric that is 17 1/4 this way and 11 inches this way. Okay. Now, this we're working with is directional fabric.
Oh.
Okay, so as long as your directional fabric is running the length of your fabric, so it's going across like this where you can read, this is fine, and it will come out so that your writing is this way. You just don't want your directional fabric to run the length of the fabric, because then it'll come out sideways. And if that doesn't bother you, that's okay too. Okay?
That would bother me.
Okay, it would bother me too. Okay, now, in the pattern, they say to sew across the open side and the bottom. On directional fabric, you don't want to sew the bottom, because then this comes out upside down.
Oh.
Okay, you want to sew the top. All right, because the top then will be in the center of your box. Okay, and the bottom part will be out here, and the top will be in the center of your box. Okay, if you sew the bottom like they suggest, which is okay with plain fabric, then if you had it on the directional fabric, it would come out upside down. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of fabric and we're going to fold it right sides together. Okay, match everything up, and you're going to sew along the short side and you're going to sew along the top of the long side. Okay, 1/4 inch seam.
Now, Diane, everyone's looking at your handy who right now.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's going to want to know. Yes, we have the pattern. We do have classes normally on him. That might be in the near future. You'd have to wait and see. And we have had, and I think we still do have some kits. So I know everybody likes him. I'm going to show him off during this little class. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's one of Diane's famous.
Yeah. And
look at his little ears.
He has now become the great horned owl because I had 2 bigger clippies. So now he's a great horned owl. Okay. Okay. When you sew, and we do have, this is a completely opened end, but this end has a fold to it. Sew from the edge down to the fold. Don't sew from the fold up. That's why I pinned it this way instead of pinning it this way. If you sew from the fold up, this shifts, and these ends up different size. Okay, if you sew from here, you know that the ends are matched up, and whatever is different will work itself out in the fold. Okay, so a 1/4 inch seam, we're going to go down the short side and down the long side. So,
yes, Karen, we always post these videos when we're done. We leave them on our Facebook Live page or on our Facebook page, so you can watch them whenever you want. And they'll also be on our YouTube channel that you can always watch over there too. Walking foot, Diane?
A walking foot. Diane uses a walking foot 99% of the time, as people have learned, because your fabric doesn't shift apart when you use the walking foot. Okay, and some of the walking feet have a beautiful 1/4 inch mark, so I always get a 1/4 inch mark. I get a better 1/4 inch mark with this than I do with any 1/4 inch foot, because the trouble with 1/4 inch feet is that you have to use them correctly. Okay, they do have, some of them have a guide on the side, but with that guide you can't push the fabric up too close to it, and you can't let it drift. The same way if you use the side of a 1/4 inch foot, you can't let it, so a lot of people let that fabric peek out a little bit so they can see the fabric, make sure that it's there, and then it throws your measurement off. So I like the walking foot where the measurement is in here, because it gives me a more accurate seam.
And both brand machines that we carry have walking feet.
Have walking feet, absolutely. So now we have our seam. Okay. So now we are going to turn this. First we'll...
What do you need?
Scissors.
You're all set. It's ready.
Okay, we're going to turn this, but before we turn it, I'm going to show you a little trick about turning up the hem at the end. Okay, after we have this all situated, they want you to turn this up a 1/2 inch and then turn it up a 1/2 inch again. Okay, people have been doing that forever. Okay, and you turn it up and it's like, okay, is that exactly a 1/2 inch? And they're taking their ruler and they're measuring. Okay, or they're not measuring and it gets all different sizes, or they're measuring and you're turning it up and you're trying to press it and do it that way, okay? It's not the easiest thing in the world. I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out, but if you take, and in this case I'm going to use a chalk pencil, okay, because the friction pen, which I love for marking, disappears when you're pressing it. The heat in front of the iron makes the line disappear, and so you've done all that work for nothing, okay? So whatever size hem you have to turn up, you're going to multiply that number by 2 and you're going to make a mark. So if this has to be turned up a 1/2 inch, I'm going to mark 1 inch up. And you can do this afterwards, but to me it's easier to do it right now while everything is laying flat. Okay, so there's my line that we're going to use later. So now what we want to do is forget about that part. We're going to go back to taking this and we're going to box out our corners. Okay, so that we get, so it looks like this. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to take, and we're going to fold it so that the side seam is laying over the bottom seam. Okay, and so they're matched up like that. Now, the trouble with doing this is you've got this point up here that is not a point anymore. And it gets bulky, it throws off your measurements. So if you take and you trim that point and trim it right up to your stitching. It doesn't matter if you cut through your stitching because we're going to come down and we're going to sew and cut it off anyway. Okay, but if you'll see, it'll fold a lot nicer. This one's a little bit different because you only have 1/2 a seam there. So just trim off what you can up to the stitching. We're going to go back here. Now when I fold this, you can see it forms a nice point. Okay, so it lays down nicely. You can make the seam go one in one direction, one in the other direction. And you can get it to lay over one another. Now, most of the time you can just kind of feel if that seam is lining up, but just to make sure, take a pin and put it straight through your seam onto the back. And if they're lined up, now you know they're in a correct position. Okay, so now I can pin that. Okay, and now we're going to mark this to square this off. Okay, they want you to come down, okay, the height of your box. Okay, our box was 3 1/4 inches high. Okay, so we're going to come down here 3 1/4 inches and draw a line across. Okay, we want this line that we're going to sew on to be perpendicular to our stitching line right here. Okay, so what you have to do is make sure you put a line of the ruler on your seam. Okay, that way any line going across here is going to be perpendicular, and we're going to move it up so that it's 3 1/4. Okay, and this is a double check that most people, they never tell you about this. I've never seen it written in a book anywhere. But if you are correct in your measurement here, and you've got this perfectly perpendicular to that, you will see that out to this edge from the center is 3 1/4 inches, and from here is 3 1/4 inches. And that's how you know you've got it perfectly. Okay, this line, and that line are all the same. And then we can draw a line across. And we can sew on that line. Okay, now we're going to go do the other side. Okay, now this is a little trickier because there's no seam on this side. Okay, so instead of working from this side with the seam, work from the side without the seam. You'll see a little crease in there. If you don't have a crease, iron one in. Okay?
Create one.
Create one. Okay, so we're going to fold this, and we're going to try and get this crease right above that seam down here. So again, we can take a pin and put it in. Now it's off just slightly, so I'm just going to rearrange it just a bit and try again. Okay, so now we're in the seam. You can put the pin in, flatten it out, keeping this on that seam, and if you can't see the seam when the ruler's on there, put a mark. Okay, and keeping a line on that seam right there, and checking this out, 1, 2, 3 1/4, 1, 2, 3 1/4, and 1, 2, 3 1/4 down, and over, and draw your line. Okay. And now we're going to stitch on those lines.
Just a straight stitch?
Just a straight stitch. That's all that this is on any of the seams we've done. This whole project is just a straight stitch.
And then you're doing the reverse button to lock in your stitches?
I do lock in my stitches just in case. Especially if you're going to use these covers a lot of the times on cardboard boxes and storage. I like to take the covers off and wash them. That way you don't have to worry about the stitching coming out. Okay, so now we have our side boxed out. We're going to now trim these seams to 1/4 inch. So now it's starting to look like it's going to fit in the box. Okay, so now we have this hem that we have to turn up. Okay, this is where this is really helpful to draw that line, because what we're going to do is, instead of having to stop and measure that 1/2 inch all the time, if you take the raw edge and fold it up to the line that you marked, you got a 1/2 inch.
Does have to warm up.
It's probably got to let this warm up a little bit. Okay, give it a minute. Okay, and just in case anybody doesn't have this ruler, everybody should have this ruler. Okay, after this one you'll notice I use a lot. It's my auxiliary ruler for helping to square things up and measuring. But this is really great. This is also the ruler that you can use to draw circles. It's got the little holes that you draw circles. What you do is you put your push pin here and you put your marker here, and you can draw any size circles. Okay? And there's a lot of different measurements, so it's not just full size or half size circles. It's also, you can do 1/4 inch size, any size circles on here. Okay? But it also has, and I don't know if you can see, it has a beautiful 1/4 inch dotted mark right here for measuring a 1/4 inch. Okay? And unlike a lot of the rulers where you're kind of guessing where the 1/4 is, this is a beautiful broken line here. But also on the other side, and this is, if you see it on the darker, there's a white line over here, which is your 3/8 of an inch. Which I don't have any other ruler. I've never seen one that has a 3/8 inch mark on it. Okay, which is great for marking if you have to, for putting your binding on, because you use a 3/8 inch seam allowance for that. But it's just the greatest little ruler. Okay.
And oh my goodness, we have it in stock. Ooh.
And then if you really, really like it for making circles, they make a 24-inch size that will make up to 48-inch size circles for things like tree skirts and tablecloths.
We have that too.
And that's very, very difficult to find something that's going to make a large circle as that. There's a lot of little circle maker type things all over the place. Not as convenient as this because it's built into something that you use all the time anyway. Okay, so we are going to turn this up a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch.
The size of this ruler is 12 by
3.5.
3.5. I thought so, and then I can't read. I don't know how to read a ruler.
Okay.
The name of the ruler is the Quick Trim and Circle Ruler.
Which is exactly what it does.
Yep.
Perfectly descriptive.
And then the larger one is a Quick Trim Circle Ruler Extra Large. And how
Again,
much is
the ruler?
Oh, how much is the ruler? $22.99 for the 12 by 3.5. So $22.99 for this ruler.
Okay, so now we have it turned up a 1/2. Okay, now we're going to turn it up again and get rid of the raw edge. So now we're just going to turn it right on that line. Any other questions coming in about the project?
Not yet. Not yet, but
Not yet. Okay.
there was a question about when are we going to teach classes? We're talking. We don't know sit down and coming in teaching classes. We are talking about maybe doing some Zoom classes, which is in the process of conversation. I know we want to teach and get together as much as you guys do.
What does that mean, Alyssa? In the process of conversation.
In the process of conversation, I'm trying to see what kind of classes we can teach and how times and days and everything with our teachers.
Okay, so now we have that turned up the other 1/2 inch. Now, the only thing left to do is to top stitch this. Okay.
Top stitch.
Top stitch,
Okay.
which means stitch very close to the fold, the second fold that we did that's in here. Okay. Now, you can eyeball it, okay, but if you are not that great about eyeballing, okay, we have for all of our machines, we have edge stitch or top stitch feet that give you a guide. I happen to like the one that's on the walking foot, but there's ones that you can use without the walking foot. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and on here there's a little flange or guide in the center of the foot. Right
This.
here.
So is that a different attachment?
This is,
Or is that a totally different foot?
no, it's a walking foot.
And then this attaches.
Yes, the walking foot, this walking foot actually comes with 3 different soles.
Oh, this is the
Okay.
three sole walking foot.
This is the
vibrant.
3-sole
Okay.
walking foot. Okay, so there's the regular one, the regular sole, then there's the one that's opened.
Okay.
So it has the bar cut out, and then this is the one, the newest one, the one with the flange in the center. And you're going to keep the edge of your fabric up against that flange, and you're going to move your needle over, and it's going to do a parallel line of stitching all the way around so that it looks professional. And that's what we want. Okay, so we're going to put that on, and So we're going to come over here, and I'm going to line up the fabric, okay, with that flange, and I'm going to move my needle over. Usually 2 or 3 is enough, okay, depending upon. Okay, and now I need my little scissors. Where I put it.
Fabric. Move that little triangle. Yeah.
Right there. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this piece of thread. Okay. And usually for top stitching, you can take your length up a little bit. I usually take it up to a 3 for top stitching. And then what it does is it guides everything for you.
Joyce, they do make a walking foot for the Destiny. Baby Lock does have a walking foot. And Karen, you would use the walking foot for Bernina, the same one. It doesn't matter. The 7 series, this is the same walking foot you would.
Same walking
foot. You're already around?
All the way around.
Wow, that was fast.
It's very fast because you don't have to do the guiding. The foot does the work for you. And I know it's hard on here to see because it's white on white, but that line of stitching is perfectly parallel to your edge all the way around. Okay, so now we have our completed liner, the cover. Okay, you're going to take your box, I'm going to place this, keeping this right side in, the good side in, you're going to place it inside your box, line up the seam with kind of the center of the box, and bring it down over the edges. And there you go.
Ta-da! Wow.
Okay, so now you can go and, if you don't know what to do with yourself, go and cover all those boxes that have been coming in the mail.
Okay, can we go over the book again?
Yeah.
Someone asked.
So the book is this Missouri Star block. It is volume 7 and issue 1 in 2020. The pattern's in here, and there's other patterns in here.
Oh, there's lots of patterns.
So there's all kinds of things, but this is where she got, on page 41 is the creative stylish storage boxes for your fabric.
Yeah, for your money, that is the best book that's out there. It's a reasonable price. It has a lot of patterns in it. Plus there's stories. Sometimes there's recipes. There's just all sorts of information and
for $9.
For $9.
I mean, you can't go wrong. So
a lot of times you can't get a pattern for $9. And
no.
there's 10
the book is $8.99
here. Plus this isn't even considered in the quilting patterns. This is just an extra pattern she gives you.
Oh, cool. Wow. So the ruler, there's 2 rulers. The quick trimming and circle ruler. We do have the 8.5 by 24.5. Oh my goodness, we got lots of things here. The walking feet. One of the questions, and let me see. One of the questions was, the stitches on my Juki look better on the top. Do the stitches on the Bernina look the same since you are top stitching?
They do.
They do. If you look at the,
it's hard
because of the
wait
white.
A minute, I had a scrap piece of fabric that I tested the stitches.
Oh boy.
It was a dark fabric. I put it under here, I think.
So if you're not, like, here's this, there's the top. I mean, yeah, the stitches look beautiful.
You see, there's the stitches. And there's the stitches.
Yeah.
Look exactly the same.
Beautiful. Yeah, because you have it on dark fabric. You can see it better. If there's anything you guys want to place an order for today, or, you know, anything you want, please call the stores and place the order so we make sure that we can fill it and we don't lose it. It's hard to go back on here and read comments to see who wanted what. Or you can email us at info@aurorasewingcenter.com and let us know what you would like for your purchase today. Anything else? Any other questions? You got Diane. She's here. Ask them now.
Can't believe there's no question.
Well, it takes them a little while. They're
Well,
tight.
yeah, that's true.
So that's why. They love the fabric. Yes, Diane always picks out cute fabric.
It's
That's
perfect
ours.
fabric.
We have it. It's here. Diane. 2 bolts, or are they two
Yeah,
different?
two. No, they're the same.
Same. So yeah, we have fabric. If you like it, we can place that order too. So really, if they purchased a half a yard of fabric, they have some play on a box. Like
Yes.
So
yes.
The book is volume 7, issue 1. And it is $8.99.
So you do have play with a half a yard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Half a yard would be good.
I mean, unless you're gonna wrap like a
Well, yeah.
ginormous box,
Yeah.
then do not buy a half a yard of fabric. You need more.
You need more. But
What's-
for any.
The name of the fabric to purchase?
Oh. Sewing words, black and white. So it's sewing words, black and white.
How much for the rulers?
How much for the rulers? The 3.5 by 12.5 is $22.99. And the 8.5 by 24.5 is $39.99.
Best rulers you'll ever buy.
Yeah, we're down 2 because I know where they're going. To me. All right. So, oh, I know, but you know what? If you go to our website, you can see all the fabric lines that we have. We keep posting daily all the lines and trying to make it easy so you guys can see it in a collection and have it numbered or lettered, or what goes next to each other and what works with each other. So we've been working on that.
Here's a question. Is there a way to make a cover for a round basket?
There probably is.
It's not in here.
It's not in here. I don't think it couldn't be done exactly the same way.
Because you have circumference.
You
It's
cer-
not.
Yeah.
It's not box
No.
squared or anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
If
Like
you
anything, it could probably be figured out one way or another. But I mean,
you'd
yeah.
have to do all corners.
Yeah.
It would be just to
No.
make a circumference.
get a square basket.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I know. Not yet, Suzanne. Not yet. I know. Everybody wants to come in here. We're just not there just yet. I don't even know what phase or what the precautions are or what the rules are when we can.
We'll be told,
We'll be told.
and then you'll know
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah. We'll keep you posted.
You too.
All right. Anything else?
The chalk pencil,
Chalk pencil. Ooh.
pink chalk pencil.
That's the,
This is the Dritz.
yeah, the Dritz. Okay.
This is the Dritz, and it comes with different colored inks, but the pink one.
Yeah, because you can refill the leads,
Yes,
correct?
absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And I think there's a white, a gray, and a pink that can come in
Correct,
with
yes.
refills.
Mm-hmm.
Handy who? We're gonna figure out if it's not a Zoom or a Facebook class. It will be someday when I can put out a calendar. It will be a class
Come
again.
back, yeah.
the banquet is canceled. We cannot have a gathering of 300 people in a facility. So, and that would have been in 4 weeks, and we can't do that. So the club banquet is canceled. Peg, if you could just email us or call the store and let us know what you want, then we can, I can bring it over there when I head over in about 45 minutes.
Is the ruler sticky-ish on one side?
Oh, is the ruler sticky-ish on one side? I know there's a product that you like.
Invisigrip.
Invisigrip.
Invisigrip. Put Invisigrip on every ruler you own.
I'm getting it. So this is Invisigrip.
Cut it to size to fit any ruler. Apply it. Your ruler will slide when you need it to slide into position, but as soon as you put any pressure on it, it won't move on you.
Oh. So this is like a sheet, you're saying?
It's a sheet. It's a yard long by 14 inches wide or something. Awesome. I think it's about 14 inches wide.
And then you just measure your ruler, put it on it.
You lay your ruler on it.
And then cut it out. And then you put it on.
Peel the backing off and just apply it. There's no sticky. It's a cling.
Okay.
So it won't leave
Kinda
any
like a window
sticky.
cling.
Like a window cling.
Question is Invisigrip better than Grippy?
Absolutely. 100 times better.
And how much is it?
$9.99.
For a yard.
For a yard of it.
We do a lot of rulers.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't even a yard. So you would get... So yeah, each teacher likes their own stuff. Diane likes Invisigrip. I know Eileen's been talking about Grippy. I think there's a benefit to both on depending on what you're doing. You know, it's to each his own, just like anything else in life.
Yep.
But this is the Invisigrip.
Personal preference.
Yep, we have that in stock too. Anything else before we sign off and say goodbye to Diane, and hopefully she comes back next week. All right. Okay. I'm going to say goodbye to Diane.
Bye. Miss you guys.
All right. So tomorrow, let's say 11. Have no idea. I'll post tonight. I really don't know. So I'll post today or tonight, later tonight, what time I'm going on tomorrow. And then don't forget, Saturday is my live shopping, 9 in the morning and 11. I have a bunch of stuff. I actually have to go hunting in our basement. So I have stuff for you on Saturday. Enjoy this beautiful weather. Thank you for joining us again today. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye, guys.